we have VACQ. This is the company taking Rocket Lab public. So this is a rocket launch company, a SpaceX competitor. Shares are up 12% today. No surprise, because the big news is that their launch window opened today. This is for their 19th Electron mission. They're going to take satellites up to space for several customers, including Black Sky, which is also going public via SPAC merger. That's ticker SFTW. So the keys here, though, are, they're deploying those satellites. They're also doing demonstrations of satellites for the University of New South Wales and also the U.S. Army Space and Missile Division. And then they're also operating on orbit as a risk reduction demonstration ahead of their planned launch to the moon later in 2021 and the planet Venus in 2023. So they're going to, test out some things while they're up there. So that merger, of course, $4.1 billion valuation. They're one of only 2 U.S. companies delivering regular access to orbit. They've completed those 18 launches. This 19th launch will deploy over 100 satellites total for the company now. So I think they're going to get a lot of attention with this new flight. And then also notable that Barron's over the weekend mentioned several space stocks, including some SPACs, VACQ, HOL, NPA, and SRAC. I do own HOL and SRAC. As kind of being, the next space stocks to watch. So, they called them, of course, SRAC, the FedEx of space. They called NPA the American Tower of space. And then they talked, about those rocket launch companies, being keys in the space thing. And no surprise, this comes coincidentally as the ARC Space ETF is set to launch next week at the earliest. So keep an eye out on space stocks all week, guys, as I think they're going to get a lot of play here.
One thing that definitely stuck out to me, and we could talk a little bit more about it, is kind of these Barron's space stocks. I was actually taking a look at the space stocks this morning. A lot about what you mentioned, the Cathie Woods pop that I'm looking for. And one of the things that I've talked about, and I talked about this weeks ago before this kind of happened, is we're going to be looking for a pullback in space stocks so that it could make sense to get in and try to maybe front run Cathie a little bit instead of her front running you. So I think this is definitely an opportunity that you got to measure out. Just to kind of point out and to show you a little bit is you could see it here. So HOL already up there, 8% on the day. I think this has a lot to do with what we've talked about. Another one that's on my radar, guys, on this list is NPA. Reason why is I saw it off the support. Looks like it's up already 5%. So that gets me a little bit antsy that I should have maybe been getting it today. But we could take a look here at this chart. Look at that support right there underneath it in the 12s. I really like this chart. NPA definitely stands out to me. And one of the things that stands out to me is, the way that I see it is probably the same way that Cathie's technical people are going to be looking at this, seeing the support, seeing the value, seeing the 24 that it went up to before. And why not try to get it near this 12 and kind of measure down risk towards when it popped up from the SPAC time.
Yeah, I think the key with NPA, Mitch, I've talked about how they're a couple years away from revenue, right? This is the 5G from space. But for anyone out there, if you watched Cathie Wood's interview right here on Benzinga, right, with Jason Raznick, she doesn't care about buying stocks based on their value this year. She is a forward-looking investment manager. So she's looking at the next 5 years. What is this company going to do over the next 5 years? If I look at NPA and that 5G growth over the next 5 years, I think this is a no-brainer to get added to the ARC Space ETF based on that. So I love the pullback here from the 20s. I didn't want to chase this one into the 20s there, but I think this one provides, some good long-term outlook, and I think it gets added to the ARC Space ETF.
All right, we'll definitely have to take a look here, and we'll see if it gets on up there. So we'll take a look here. All right, guys, let's go ahead and let's get into the next step here. One thing I did want to talk about is when will the Cathie ETF actually come out? Earliest I've heard is the 23rd. I personally think it's going to be closer towards the end of the week, looking towards getting through this kind of environment before it comes out. But we'll see. We'll see, guys. So definitely stay tuned. I know that there will be a lot of traders probably trying to get in the pre-market when that news does come out. So be aware. Look at those pre-market levels. See how high it pops up on that pre-market rip, because I'm sure there's going to be traders kind of waiting for the news, waiting. As soon as they see it, the agos are going to jump first. Then the retail traders jump out after that.